What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Real WerD podcast, a place where real thoughts, real ideas, and real words come to life. I'm your host, Drew, coming from San Diego, California. Thank you for stopping by, tuning in, checking out the channel. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit up those links down below. And now we can get into the episode. It is, November 16th, 2020. It's Monday morning. Welcome in, welcome in. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend. What do we have to get into today? We're going to talk a little bit about some UFC, the UFC results. We're going to talk about Gavin Newsom, our governor here in California. We're going to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving stuff. And then we'll get into some vaccine situations and kind of how we're in the first step of one of my predictions from pretty early on. So we'll talk about that. We're talking about you, Ticketmaster. So yeah, we're going to get into all of that in just a moment. But for now, let me have a sip of my Black Rifle Company coffee right here. This episode might be a little bit difficult to get through. My eye is still infected. I have no idea with what, but this left eye is completely red still, and it hurts. It's on fire. I don't have my glasses on today. I think I left them in the car and don't want to go deal with all of that. And plus, I just want it to get better, man. I don't want to freaking wear glasses in the inside. And like when I'm doing this, I've done it a couple of times now, and it just, I don't like it. I don't like wearing my glasses while recording. So just got to deal with it. This eye might start watering and tearing up and stuff, but not emotional or anything right now. It's just infected and it's on fire, man. It hurts. It hurts bad. So that's what I'm dealing with. That's something that, it's really frustrating because on, when was it? Wednesday, when we left to go for our trip, just spent 24 hours away from the house, and it was almost all the way better. The eye was almost all the way better, and now it's just, damn, I don't even have anything to wipe my eye with right now without pulling my shirt up, and I don't want to do that. So, damn, this is going to be a little tough to get through, but yeah, it was just about 24 hours away from our house here, and it was almost all the way better. And then I got back, and within 24 hours, it was all just red, solid red again. And yeah, it just sucks. I have like these irritated eye or infected eye drops and stuff like that. I've been just trying to drown my eye in that. I have a silver nitrate or whatever it is. Got to get back to spraying some of that in my eye. But yeah, man, it's been a handful of weeks now. It's been almost close to a month, maybe 3 weeks since it's been going on, and it hasn't really gotten any better except when I left the house for like 24 hours. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I mean, the day we left to go for the trip on Wednesday, I went to go find this backpack that I have always used to pack some clothes in and luggage, laundry, just pack to go for a trip, just all the clothes and all of that, whatever. And went to go find it, and it was all molded up in my closet. And there was like mold in my closet and stuff. So I'm thinking that has something to do with my eye infection or what's going on with my eye. But we cleaned that all out. No leak. I don't know what's going on. The whole bottom floor of my closet was all like, you could tell it had been wet, but it's all dried up now. And then there was like mold growing over the walls and stuff. And it's like, I don't go in that closet too often, or at least on the left side of the closet too often. So yeah, I who knows when that happened, when it took place. I have no idea, but I do think that has something to do with why my eye is all messed up. And I don't know what else to do, because we cleaned off the mold. Like we bleached it all out, cleaned it all out, wiped it down. And there's no signs of a leak or anything else like that. So I really don't know what to do. It's kind of frustrating me. It's bringing me down a little bit. Just dealing with, like, I thought it was one thing. I thought it was like getting smoke in my eye or something, like incense smoke or something like that. But I haven't been doing that. It started before I was smoking weed again. It started before, in the last week or so of October, I want to say, is when it started happening, and I wasn't smoking then or anything like that, so I have no idea what's going on. I was trying to put the pieces together. I thought maybe there was some incense I got in my eye that irritated it or something like that, but then I haven't been using the incense, and, I thought it was that because I hadn't been using it. It started getting a little bit better. My dad burned some incense, and then it got really bad again. So, but I don't know. Now we haven't been burning it at all for like a week plus straight, and I went away for 24 hours. It got almost all the way better, came back, and it's back to being as red as ever. And just frustrating, man. It really is frustrating. It's something that I don't know what to do. I've been trying to do everything that I can anyways, but nothing's getting rid of this thing, man. I don't know what's going on. A little frustrating though. A little frustrating. So let's get into it. Let's get into Saturday. The UFC results. UFC Vegas 14. Felder versus Dos Anjos. This is from MMAfighting.com. MMA Fighting has UFC Vegas 14 results for the Felder Dos Anjos fight card on Saturday. All right. In the main event, Paul Felder steps in on 5 days' notice to square off against former UFC champion Rafael Dos Anjos. Felder has won 3 of his past 5 fights, while Dos Anjos has lost 4 of his past 5 fights. All right. So the main card, you had Rafael Dos Anjos defeating Paul Felder via split decision, which was a little ridiculous. How did that first judge have it for Paul Felder? That didn't make sense. And that just shows something needs to happen with the judges, man. I don't know how you regulate that or what you do with the judges, but something needs to happen. There's no way that Paul Felder should have had any scorecard. Don't get me wrong, he put up a hell of a fight and took it on short notice, lost 20 something pounds in the week, and hasn't been training or anything like that in the last 4 months, at least for MMA. He's been training for a triathlon, but yeah, he got outworked basically, and Dos Anjos ended up winning, but there was one judge that had it 48-47 or something like that for Felder. The rest was 50-45, something like that. So a little ridiculous. You had this crazy knockout from Chaos Williams defeating Abdul Alhassan. Sorry about probably pronouncing that name wrong, but he got the knockout in 30 seconds, and that's 3 seconds longer than his debut, I guess, where he knocked someone out in 27 seconds. So this guy's probably going to be a problem. I like what he said. If people keep sleeping on me, they're going to have the doctor wake him up or something like that. It was a pretty cool quote after he won. I like that. You had Ashley Yoder defeating Miranda Granger via unanimous decision, and I like that decision. It was a close fight, but I thought that was the proper decision right there. Then you had Sean Strickland, who just fought 2 weeks ago, defeating Brendan Allen via second round TKO. And that was a pretty brutal knockout right there. That was a good one. Don't get me wrong, the Chaos Williams one was just insane. just like one punch, just out, and then he came through with one more for the ground and pound before the ref called it off. But the Sean Strickland one was a good fight as well, and the fact it was a catch weight, I believe it was at 195, and yeah, this was just a fun one. It was cool seeing Sean Strickland back after just 2 weeks. After his performance from 2 weeks ago in the cage, just talking all sorts of trash and everything. And that was a fun one, 2 weeks ago when he was just talking. There was no room for talking in this one. The pressure kept coming, but he got it done for sure. And then this one was pretty interesting. You had two of the youngest females on the roster, both at 21 years old. I believe Chase Hooper is just a month or so younger than Kay Hansen or something like that. But anyway, you had Corey McKenna, who is the youngest UFC fighter, defeating Kay Hansen via unanimous decision, 29-28 all across the board. And I thought that was a good decision, I think, especially with how she ended it. If she would have had a few more seconds, she probably would have got the rear naked choke. But, that's not how the fight game goes. And it was, she was saved by the bell. Kay Hansen was. But she did end up losing that fight via unanimous decision, and Corey McKenna got it. Look good. Both of them look good, and yeah, I thought that was a fun fight. So that was the main card, from my understanding. That's all we had for the main card. But yeah, it was good stuff. It was good stuff. Let's just read this. It says, this is from bloodyelbow.com. Paul Felder might have walked away with a second straight loss on his record, but anyone who saw his 5-round lightweight fight opposite Rafael dos Anjos at the top of last night's UFC Vegas 14 fight card would be hard-pressed to call Felder a loser. As for the former 155-pound champ, dos Anjos stamped his pass back to the list of lightweight title contenders with the clinical victory. There were two major concerns regarding this matchup. The first, how would Felder perform with less than a week's notice to face the former lightweight title holder? The second, how would dos Anjos look in his return to a weight division he had not competed at since decision loss to Tony Ferguson in November 2016? Felder and dos Anjos answered those questions early in the fight, and the two competitors were rewarded for their efforts at the end of the evening when they took home a well-deserved fight of the night bonus. After the fight, Felder, who had flirted with retirement, said his career was not over. Quote, I can tell you guys with certainty I'm not going anywhere right now. I lost my passion for this sport pretty bad. I can tell you I'm not done. I might lose my ranking a little bit, but what I've learned in this sport is none of that matters. What matters is going out there, showing up, showing who you are inside, and what determination you have. As a former champ who was unranked at lightweight before a split decision win over Felder, dos Anjos put his sights on a fight he missed out on in 2016. Khabib leaving the division, I think it'll leave the division wide open. If you look at the rankings, we have 3 former interim champions, Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, and Dustin Poirier. The only 2 real champs in that division are me and Conor. We were scheduled to fight twice. If the champ leaves the division, why not book me versus McGregor? So all of this is interesting, so I'll stop it right there, go back. It's good to see that Felder's not retiring. He still looked really good, especially without even having a full fight camp. He definitely looked a lot leaner, and that's from being in that triathlon shape. Training for that'll definitely lean you out. He definitely looked a lot leaner, but he still looked good. He looked sharp. He looked crisp. He looked fast, and it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if he would have had a full fight camp. But again, that wasn't even the fight planned or anything. This all happened on last minute happenstance. You know what I mean? So Shout out to Paul Felder, though, for taking the fight, and he still looked really good, you know? And then for Dos Anjos, that'd be interesting. I don't know how Conor really feels about... Well, I do. I did read something where he said Poirier's next, but then he's open to kind of whatever. Yeah, I think that'd be a good fight. Like, why not, right? McGregor is expected to face Poirier in January, but he replied to Dos Anjos via social media saying he was in for sure. The UFC's lightweight division, which was already an elite division before Saturday night, just got a lot more interesting after Dos Anjos' win over Felder. Yeah. Good stuff. So shout out to both those guys, putting in the work, getting it done. Felder for taking the fight. Gotta respect him for that. And yeah, you gotta keep the show going, you know? And I liked how Felder like called out the people for missing weight on the card, and he's like, man, I lost 20 pounds in a week and I wasn't even training and I busted my ass and got it done. And yeah, you guys have full camps and unable to like hire a nutritionist and get your shit together is basically what he was saying. And that's true, man. It's like, this is your job. Treat it like your profession and be professional about it, you know? I don't understand like some of these fighters who are so heavy. Like, shouldn't you be like always in somewhat near fight shape? Like only having like maybe 10 pounds to lose or so? Like, I don't understand why some of these fighters like walk around at such a heavier weight. It just doesn't make sense to me, and it's super unprofessional in my opinion, but what do I know? What do I know? I'm just a fan of the sport. Man, I can't wait to start, like, it's been frustrating because I don't want to do too much strenuous activity because of my eye. Like, I don't know if, like, sweating and, like, doing that type of stuff will open me up to more susceptible, like, eye problems right now, or if it'll actually help. I don't know. I don't know what to do because I haven't really worked out at all. And all my progress from Sober October with the running and all that has basically gone out the window now. So that's a little frustrating, but I know I could get back to it. I know I will. It's just I don't want to mess up my eye anymore, you know? I don't want to be out there running or rolling around wrestling with my dad and like have something... I don't want to pass it on to him, and I don't want something to happen to my eye, you know what I mean? So it's just a frustrating situation, and I really miss working out, and I can't wait to get back to it. I just don't know if it's okay for me to really do that right now. I guess the only thing we could do is try, you know? But it's a little risky, I feel. I don't know. But anyway, let's get back to some of the articles. All right, this is from NBC San Diego. California governor went to party, violated own virus rules. Are you kidding me, man? This is the same thing that we kind of saw with Nancy Pelosi earlier on as well with Gavin Newsom and his winery up in San Francisco area. It's like they make the rules, but they are above the rules, I guess. Super frustrating. It's really frustrating. But let's get into it. It says Newsom, who has pleaded with residents to avoid social gatherings that mix households, said in a statement Friday that we should have modeled better behavior, not join the dinner. Oh, yeah, you think? If you're going to tell us we can't do something, why are you going out and doing it? But it's easier to do something and then ask for forgiveness, I guess, right? Just ridiculous. For months, Governor Gavin Newsom has pleaded with Californians to resist the temptation to socialize with friends and relatives outside their household. Turns out he's the one who couldn't resist. Newsom acknowledged Friday he attended a birthday party with a dozen friends on November 6th at the posh French laundry restaurants in wine country north of San Francisco. Quote, while our family followed the restaurant's health protocols and took safety precautions, we should have modeled better behavior and not join the dinner. His choice to do so could harm his credibility, and after his messaging as the state of nearly 40 million enters a critical holiday stretch with virus cases surging and health officials blaming the increase on social gatherings. A professor of public policy communication at the University of Southern California, Sherry Biptek Jeff. Sorry, again, I'm not good at pronouncing names. Noted people across the state have been canceling birthday parties, funerals, and other important events to abide by the rules. Now, if Newsom tries to tighten the rules again, he may have lost some credibility. Oh, he already lost credibility, in my opinion. That is, there's no excuse, not one. If you're gonna make these rules and mandates and put them on other people and for for all the people of California, and then you're not gonna abide by them, like we've seen a handful of times throughout this pandemic, yeah, you've lost credibility, and he should not be running this state at all. It's really frustrating, actually. This was totally unnecessary. He didn't have to do this, she said. Newsom and state and local health officials have urged people to stay within their own households. If people must visit others, they should meet outside. Include no more than 3 households, wear masks, stay socially distant, and limit their interaction to 2 hours. The dinner, first reported Friday by the San Francisco Chronicle, included 12 people sitting outside at the famed restaurant in Napa County. It was in celebration of the 50th birthday of Jason Kinney, a Newsom friend and political advisor. Newsom's wife also attended. According to the Chronicle, representatives for Kinney and Newsom declined to specify how many households the dinner represented, but did not dispute that it was more than 3. Just so ridiculous. They're going to try and have us not do Thanksgiving with more than 3 households, but guarantee there's more than 3 households there at that little party with more than 12 people. Or with 12 people. It's crazy. Newsom spokesman Nathan Click did not answer questions from the Associated Press about whether Newsom was tested for the coronavirus after attending, or if he wore a mask when he wasn't eating or drinking, as he's urged Californians to do. My guess is that's a negative for all of it, which is, again, just so hypocritical and so ridiculous. 3 days after the party, Newsom held his usual Monday news conference on the virus and spoke about how the state's cases were at their highest levels in months and attributed it to social gatherings, including at Halloween. But his events are okay, it sounds like. But everybody else, those are spreaders. Those are, causing the cases to spike. But him and his group of people, they're fine. There's no issues there. Get out of here. The next day, Mark Ghaly, head of California Health and Human Services Agency, made similar remarks at his news conference. Click didn't answer a question about whether Ghaly was aware Newsom attended the party before it was reported. At a media briefing Friday, Ghaly declined to discuss Newsom's behavior, but he said high-risk activities include eating and drinking and gathering with people outside of a household. State guidelines limit gatherings defined as social situations that bring together people from different households at the same time in a single space or place, to no more than 3 households. It's unclear if the rules applies to restaurants, however, which follow different guidance. Just because we're personally close to someone, a family member, a really close friend who we haven't seen in a while, that doesn't create comfort when it comes to COVID. Republicans quickly jumped on the news as evidence of hypocrisy as Newsom, a first-team Democrat, urges Californians to stay home. California GOP said in a tweet that the governor, quote, seems to be talking out both sides of his mouth. I'm glad somebody's calling him out on it. But yeah, that's basically it. There's a little bit more to the article if you want to read it at NBCSanDiego.com. But yeah, it's just a little hypocritical that he's putting these guidelines on for everybody else, but then goes out and breaks his own rules. Just doesn't make sense. A lot of hypocrisy, double standards, whatever you want to call it. It just doesn't make sense, and it's not right. If they could do it, we should be able to do it with no issues. And it's like, I'm cool, go ahead and gather with people. That should be our rights, but you shouldn't be forcing us to kind of live by these guidelines and standards if you're not gonna live up to them as well. Or we should be able to break them as well, without getting in trouble or getting slammed or anything like that. If the governor's doing it, we should be able to do it. If he's not, then okay, whatever. Still don't force it on me, but, do your thing. At least live up to your own rules, It's pretty frustrating. It is pretty frustrating. So let's get into this. This is from fastcompany.com. Experts say the CDC's Thanksgiving guidelines are too lenient. Too lenient? Are you kidding me right now? They just want everybody to just stay at home and not do anything and just keep distance and keep isolated, keep being lonely. Who cares about your mental health? Who cares about suicide rates? Who cares about domestic violence? Who cares about kids starving? Who cares about all this, You must stay home and not get around your family because COVID. The virus that has a 99.9% effective rate, survival rate, I should say. Yeah, it's ridiculous what's going on, man. Let's read this. American Thanksgiving is fast approaching, but Canada celebrated its Thanksgiving in early October. Despite Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's calls to cancel in-person gatherings to curb the spread of the coronavirus, celebrations went on and led to now documented outbreaks. The experience of our northern neighbor, which has significantly lower COVID-19 cases, could serve as a warning for how Americans treat the event on November 26th. The CDC and Prevention, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has published its guidelines for a safe Thanksgiving, noting the safest way to celebrate Thanksgiving this year is to celebrate with people in your household. But then it goes on to allow for less appropriate behavior. If you do plan to spend Thanksgiving with people outside your household, take steps to make your celebration safer. Most of the rest of the documents list ways families can mitigate risk for in-person gatherings, limiting guests, cleaning the surface frequently, bringing your own food and utensils to dinner, and using single-use salad dressing packets. Oh my God, what a joke. But experts worry that these official guidelines are too lax and that they do not issue a sterner warning to cancel in-person Thanksgiving altogether. And this says in big old bold font, the guidelines don't do an adequate job of detailing the seriousness of the spread that the nation is currently experiencing in its emerging second wave. Whew, man. Scientists and doctors who spoke to Fast Company agree that Thanksgiving could become a super spreader event. Absolutely, says Rich Davis, a microbiologist at Providence Sacred Heart Hospital in Spokane, Washington. Yes, definitely, echoes Dr. William Schaffner, professor of medicine in the Division of Infectious Diseases at Vanderbilt University. In fact, I'm convinced just looking at the way our general population is currently behaving. The behavior provides a clue for why the CDC may have given more lenient guidelines. The notion is if you provide recommendations, you don't want recommendations to be ignored. Schaffner said, I think they're not stricter because they thought they would be completely ignored. Yeah, 100%. Even these guidelines are going to be ignored from me. Maybe. I don't know what I'm doing for Thanksgiving yet. We'll see. Our family's kind of in a little bit of an infighting, I guess, anyway right now. So it's like, I don't know what's going to go on. I don't know. I just know I don't want to cause any problems. So if it's best if I don't go hang out with family, then that's what it is, And it seems like I'm always the one who is the cause of problems. So we shall see. I don't know. Much of the population is experiencing COVID fatigue almost 9 months into the pandemic and now facing the prospect of new lockdowns in many parts of the country. They're really at their wits' end, says Dr. Ian Gonzenhauser, Chief Quality and Patient Safety Officer at Ohio State University, is starting to cause complacency and apathy and just flat out rejection of adherence to the guidelines. Yeah, and I was on that pretty early on too. It's like at first it's like, all right, cool, you know, everybody's on unemployment, whatever. I've still been living my life, but I can just see it from other people, man. They just and we can see it in the other numbers, like I said before, just the suicide rates, domestic abuse and domestic violence, and kids starving, and all of that stuff. Do those lives not matter, or is it only COVID-19 lives that matter right now? Like, I just want to know, because we can't keep having these double standards with things, you know? You can't say, like, oh, this is such a big deal, and so many deaths, while with the result of these lockdowns, more deaths are happening for other reasons in a whole handful of other categories. So what are we doing, you know? That's all I want to know. Like, what are we doing? Anyway, experts surmise that it was perhaps a deliberate tactic by the CDC to ensure people take as many precautions as they're willing to take, stopping short of abstinence. As a physician, Gonzenhauser says he often has to compromise with patients to ensure the healthiest choice for them. That doesn't always mean the best choice, he says. Sometimes it means the best choice that they're willing to accept. Still, he wishes the CDC had started stricter and then walked back the guidelines if needed. There's no way. I'm not going to continue going with this. This is a pretty big article there, but that's from fastcompany.com if you want to go check out the rest of it. But it's just ridiculous, man, how they're calling for stricter guidelines. Like, geez, are you kidding me right now? Even more strict guidelines for a virus that isn't even that big of a deal when it comes to death? I mean, don't get me wrong, nobody should be dying from this, like, but people die every single day, you know? And it is what it is, a part of life, you know? And we don't take these same precautions when it comes to like any other deaths. And yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's frustrating, and they're just gonna keep this going as long as they can, I swear. And people are saying, oh, 2021, they're getting the vaccine and blah blah blah, but watch for the mutation, and then the vaccine won't do anything or have very minimal effectiveness, and we will be back to square one. That is my prediction with the vaccine. So this is from NBC San Diego as well. This one says, can the state or even your job require you to get a vaccine? This one's scary. I'll read through this whole article real quick, because I don't like this. This is exactly why I don't want a regular job ever again. If they can do this, like, no thank you. I'd rather like die on my own than comply like that. Like 100%. That's where I'm at. Let's get into it. It's a question on most of our minds. Will you take a coronavirus vaccine when it's ready? My answer is no, I will not. I will not do that. I will not comply. There are factors to consider on both sides, but have you considered this? What if you are told you have to get a vaccine? I would be gone. The state has extraordinary power to maintain the public health. You see it in its decisions regarding which businesses can open and which must stay closed. A University of San Diego law professor said the state can also mandate COVID-19 vaccinations with few exemptions. A vaccination mandate may sound like an overreach, but Dov Fox, director of the Centers for Health Law Policy and Bioethics at USD, said if and only if, he emphasized, a vaccine has been scientifically validated as a safe, effective, and medically necessary by relevant medical experts, it's legal. How scary is that? A job. Are they saying just your job or everybody? Because either way, that's scary. It's legal to force it. A mandate. That's insane. A vaccination mandate may sound like an overreach. But if it's been scientifically validated as safe, effective, and medically necessary, it's legal. Man, that is scary. I did not know that. San Diegan Penny, I'm just gonna say Penny, said chances are she's not alone. According to Fox, you could also lose your job for refusing an employer-mandated vaccine. Wait, employers can demand you to take a vaccine too? Wow, Nadia said. Again, I'm just gonna leave out these last names. If my company forced it and I didn't want to do it, I would be okay with moving on. It is more about principles than the vaccine, Jared said. Yeah, and I'm with that right there. If a company is forcing you to do it, it's like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm gone. Such mandates are based on 100-year-old case law. According to Fox, in 1905, the Supreme Court upheld the state's authority to enforce compulsory vaccination. Who was this person right here? Penny's already made up her mind that she would get the first available vaccine. Oh my god, that's crazy. I want to get vaccinated. I want to do my part to going back to a normal world. So let's comply and let's do anything we can. Take our rights away and let them stick a needle in you. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And then this person said, meanwhile, this person is an absolute no. That's what I like to see. An absolute no. That's from Nadia. I don't know. Are they going to microchip us next? She said. I don't want to take the vaccine personally. I just think it's too new. A vaccination mandate in this political climate is not the best idea, but alternatives like segregating the vaccine from the unvaccinated to stop the spread could even be worse, Fox said. There are possible exemptions to a vaccine mandate for pregnant women or for someone with pre-existing conditions that might make a vaccine unsafe. So at least there are some exemptions, but damn, it's not looking good for people if you want to not get vaccinated. Seems like they will do anything they can to just strip your rights away and make you do these things. But how are they going to do that? Are they going to round you up in camps or something? They going to round you up in some camps? I don't think we're going to allow that, but maybe the left will allow it. I don't know. It's crazy, though, when you really think about it. It is crazy. Again, how are they going to do that? How are they going to mandate it? How are they going to force you to do that? Like I said, how are they going to round you up? Are they going to round you up? Are they going to do that? Put a little tattoo on you too, like Nazi Germany? Number you, make sure you comply, make sure you are living in these spaces that they allow. See who you're allowed to see, and that's it. Pretty scary. pretty scary. And now we'll talk about this article from Billboard dealing with Ticketmaster, and we'll read through it, but this was something that I kind of predicted pretty early on during all of this. I said they're going to start... Oh, excuse me. They're going to start having... you have to be vaccinated to get into certain places, and it seems like Ticketmaster wants to implement something like this for concert events and things like that. You would have to show proof of vaccination or a COVID test. Like I said, we'll get into the article in just a minute, but I just think, I'm just going to give my prediction. I think if they get it passed and they allow this to happen, that's just going to be the test run of things. They're going to see what it does to business, if people still go out and, actually comply, if that gives them an incentive to get the vaccine or get tested, et cetera, et cetera. And if business goes on about normal and they don't see too much drop off, I think they're going to implement it in other businesses as well, like grocery stores and, retail and things like that. And that could get really scary. That could shut out a lot of people who, don't comply with the vaccine, who don't want the vaccine, and who refuse to get tested and things like that. I don't know, man. It's a scary situation for sure, but we'll get into the article right now. I just wanted to kind of say that looks like my prediction was kind of right. We'll see. It's still being implemented. They're still working out all the details with how it would need to be implemented. But again, if they get this through, then damn, was I right. But the fact that they're even talking about it just shows something, right? It's crazy, man. It really is crazy. All right. Monday's news that pharmaceutical company Pfizer's early results on a new COVID-19 vaccine showed a 90% efficiency rate on an initial clinical trial, have given concert professionals hope that the business can start mounting a return in 2021. As part of that preparation, Ticketmaster has been working on a framework for post-pandemic fan safety that uses smartphones to verify fans' vaccination status or whether they've tested negative for the coronavirus within 24 to 72 hour window. Many details of the plan, which is still in development phase, will rely on 3 separate components: the Ticketmaster digital app, third-party health information companies like Clear Health, Pass, or IBM's digital health pass and testing, and vaccine distribution providers like LabCorp and the CVS Minute Clinic. Here's how it would work, if approved. After purchasing a ticket for a concert, fans would need to verify that they have already been vaccinated, which would provide approximately 1 year of COVID-19 protection, or test negative for the coronavirus approximately 24 to 72 hours prior to the concert. The length of coverage a test would provide would be governed by regional health authorities. If attendees on a Friday night concert had to be tested 48 hours in advance, most could start the testing process the day before the event. If it was a 24-hour window, most people would likely be tested the same day of the event at a lab or health clinic. Once the test was complete, the fan would instruct the lab to deliver the results to their health pass company, like Clear or IBM. If the tests were negative or the fan was vaccinated, the health pass company would verify the attendee's COVID-19 status to Ticketmaster, which would then issue the fan the credentials needed to access the event. If a fan tested positive or didn't take a test to verify their status, they would not be granted access to the event. There are still many details to work out, but the goal of the program is for fans to take care of vaccines and testing prior to the concert and not show up hoping to be tested on site. Ticketmaster would not store or have access to fans' medical records and would only receive verification of whether a fan is cleared to attend the event on the given date. Different states will have different requirements. The main role of companies like Health Pass companies will be to collect data from testing and medical providers and deliver status updates to partner companies in a secure, encrypted way that complies with the Health Insurance Profitability and Accountability Act, HIPAA. To date, the Food and Drug Administration has not approved any third-party companies to provide the complex technology needed to deliver real-time vaccination rules, but Ticketmaster President Mark Yovich expects the demand for digital screening services, which will be needed for airline travel, employment verification, and theme park entry, will attract a new wave of investors and entrepreneurs to fuel the growth of a new COVID-19 technology sector. Yeah. Let's just move on from that. That's just scary stuff, man. And this was a reply from Ticketmaster. This is from today.com. Ticketmaster clarifies plan for bringing back concerts, live events in 2021. Concerts have been one of the many luxuries people have had to live without during the coronavirus pandemic, but Ticketmaster is thinking about how to bring them back safely. The company clarified a recent report that suggests it could require audience members to show proof they have received a vaccine or tested negative for COVID-19. All right. And this is from, I believe, Ticketmaster right here. Here we go. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll just read it. Okay, let's get into it. We have noticed there has been some misreporting around the safety protocols. To clarify, Ticketmaster does not set policies around safety entry requirements, which include vaccines and or testing protocols. Ticketmaster continued to work with the event organizers on all COVID safety measures, and it will be up to each event organizer to set future requirements, the company said in a statement. There's been misreporting in the news recently. Ticketmaster does not set policies around safety entry requirements. We continue to work. Okay, that was the same statement. As the live event industry looks toward a plan for restarting its business in 2021, the blueprint for what that will look like is still in the very early stages. We're exploring a number of safety features for event organizers to utilize as they look to welcome fans back to events. This includes social distancing, contactless entry, and more. The statement said, any screening requirements will be up to the individual event organizer and local health guidelines, and not Ticketmaster. However, the company is looking at how it can use technology as a tool to prevent concerts from turning into a virus super spreader event. That plan could include asking ticket holders to share whether they've been vaccinated or have tested negative for the virus within a certain window of time, dependent on local rules, according to a Billboard report. We're already seeing many third-party healthcare providers prepare to handle the vetting, whether that is getting a vaccine, taking a test, or other methods of review and approval, which could then be linked via digital ticket so everyone entering the event is verified. Mark Yovich, president of Ticketmaster, told the outlet in an exclusive interview that was released days after the Pfizer announcement, promising news about the vaccine. The drug maker said its vaccine is 90% effective in preliminary tests. So your immune system is 99-point-something% effective, but the vaccine is 90% effective. So get that. How does that make much sense? I mean, I understand if you get it, then you want to get better, but nobody is really ever talking about boosting your immune system and being healthy, you know, vitamin D, zinc, and just sunshine, getting a sweat, exercise, but not too hard, especially if you have a immune compromised system, you know? You don't want to bring your immune system down by working out too hard. But you do want to get some fresh air, get some vitamin D, some zinc, and just, you know, just be healthy. Eat more fruits, vegetables, and leafy greens, things like that. And yeah, man, that's how you have to do it. And it's just so frustrating that they're just trying to push the vaccines, the drugs, like all this stuff. And there's no real talk about just being healthy, you know? Like a lot of this stuff can be prevented, I feel, with just proper education and proper nutrition and just things like that, but they don't seem to want that kind of stuff, you know? They want you to be dependent on them. They want to control everything. And again, it's getting a little scary in my situation, especially if they're going to try and if your work can like tell you have to do a vaccine, if the state says you have to do a vaccine, if these entertainment places say you have to do a vaccine, what is someone like me gonna do? We're gonna be completely isolated from the everyday world. And how do you go on about living your life without all of that? It's really interesting, man. They really try and like force you into doing something, and I don't know. I'm just not into it. And this is some of the worst case scenarios that I've seen in a while, but this is kind of right up what I've been talking about since the beginning of all of this. I just kind of had a feeling it was going to be leaning towards this. And it will definitely get worse and more strict under a Biden administration. So we'll see what happens. I know, like, everybody's still saying, "Oh, doesn't President Trump know that the race is over?" It's like, "Oh, I didn't know it was December 14th yet. I didn't know the Electoral College voted yet." Oh, that's right, they didn't. And there's still court cases going on, and I think today, this morning, like, more stuff is going to be happening as far as Trump and his legal team filing different suits and things like that. So we'll see what happens. There's still just about a month to go before we really find out who the president is. And right now, again, Donald Trump is still the president. He's still the one in charge. Joe Biden is just acting like a joke, in my opinion. He's not the leader right now. And I don't care what the media said. Like, it does not matter. Like, he is not the one in charge right now. The Electoral College, the whole voting process has not been played out. And like I said, we still have about just under a month to go until we figure it all out. And, you know, if it goes to courts and, you know, if Trump concedes or whatever, then it's like, okay, it's over. And we move on with our lives. And I do expect it to get more strict under a Biden administration with the masks, with the vaccines, with the lockdowns, with all this stuff. I feel like it's going to be more strict, and we're going to be back on more lockdowns and all of this stuff that I was just mentioning. So we shall see. Under a Trump administration, I do think he's trying to get that vaccine pushed through also, which is I don't agree with. But it sounds like he's also trying to get these other forms of therapeutics going as well. So it's not just a vaccine. That sounds like a better option. But again, who knows? I'm not about taking like that medicine like that. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm more into the natural way and boosting your immune system and being healthy as far as that goes. But I don't know, man. If Trump remains president, it's going to get scary out there as well, man. Like, either way, this is like it's bad either way. Because if Trump ends up winning and like overturned in court or whatever, all these people protesting and rioting are just going to go insane. Cities will be destroyed. And both sides feel like the election will be stolen from them. If Biden wins, you know, conservatives will feel like they had the election stolen from them, and it kind of puts into question the integrity of the election. And if Trump ends up winning, then the liberals will feel like they had the election stolen from them, and Trump kind of conned his way into the presidency or whatever, and it'll just cause chaos. It really will. And maybe that's what everybody wants. Maybe this is all a part of the plan, and they want everybody kind of disrupted and not settled in. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Like I said, we have a little under a month to go until we actually determine who is president, and it could even take a little longer than that if it goes to the Supreme Court. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know how that whole situation plays out or anything like that. All I'm hearing is that there is paths to victory for Trump to win in court. So we shall see. It's fun. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting, entertaining, obviously. Like, this is exactly what the news needed, because what else would they be talking about if it was a clear-cut victory for Joe Biden? What else would they be talking about? If Trump conceded and we moved on, what would the news be doing, you know? I don't know. So I think it's fun. I like a little bit of the chaos. I like the disruption. Because it's not the normal, you know? I'm not saying like I'm for the violence and the burning and the looting and the rioting. Like, I'm not for any of that. But as far as the disruption of this game that's being played by Trump and the legal team, and because, you know, in previous elections, it's like the loser has always conceded. And then it's like, okay, now the press can really call the election because the one candidate is looking at the numbers. Clearly, there's no chance of them winning. So they concede. They make the call, say, hey, you won, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. But Trump has yet to do so. But the media already called Joe Biden the president, or the projected president-elect. And the whole process hasn't even been played out yet. Still counting, recounts, lawsuits, etc. Like, it's far from over. It really is. But people love saying, oh, it's over. Doesn't Trump know it's over? It's like, oh, no, don't you know it's not over? And yeah, it's going to get crazy. We shall see what happens. We shall see. But that is all I have for today. I will be back tomorrow for Tuesday Morning Tokes. I got to write out my trip story so I can have that to go along with. So I can write that down and kind of have a moment-by-moment recap of my first mushroom trip, which was amazing, by the way. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. We should be back for another episode of the No World Order podcast on Instagram Live on Thursday. Go check out at _the No World Order podcast on Instagram. Go follow that. Check us out when we're live. Go check out the previous IGTV videos. And yeah, just go give that page some love. I should be back with another episode of the Real WerD podcast on Friday. And until next time, everybody, peace.